Hey guys, Stefan again. Alright, here is attempt at video number 2. Got some tips from people from the first one, so thanks for that. Well, I thought the first things that we could talk about would be like why all this started, I guess, is one of the questions somebody's asked me a couple times. And my answer to the why is not that it was a why, it was that that's who I am, if that makes any sense. I think that when I first really started realizing that I was different was when I was younger, like I'm talking like 8 or 9. I remember looking at myself almost like from the outside of my body. I never actually felt like I was actually in my body. I always felt like I was some kind of like an actor, and I would think about things like, oh, where am I going to put my legs at? Where am I going to put my hands at? Try to think of the best way possible to look as feminine or pretty as I could. And that, yeah, I could probably remember way back when. I also remember like a moment when I was in kindergarten. I absolutely couldn't figure out why I was different. Like, I thought differently than people did. I thought differently than other kindergartners did. I thought, I was more imaginative, I felt like, than they were, and I always felt like I was the odd man out a lot. Recently, through high school, I fought a lot with my identity in high school. I did a lot of changing in high school. I tried every different style of hair. I tried every different style of dress. And that did not include actual dresses. I dressed up a lot, like for like dances. I did the perfect, like, get the dress and get your hair done and all that crap, because I wanted to be the perfect girl, because I thought that was how it was supposed to be. I didn't have the verbiage either for what I was actually feeling, and I remember going to a sleepover and just being horrified of the fact that people were talking about periods. Gross. I was horrified when it started, when I had to deal with puberty. I remember praying, like actually putting in the prayer box, I prayed to God that I would never have to have a period. I remember dealing with that, and then also I remember some of my friends that were girls actually coming out and saying, well, what's wrong with you? Why, it's normal, who cares? Something that you should be proud of. No, never was, actually. And I remember, through high school I tried to branch off a little bit, because it's like I really started kind of getting the verbiage of being attracted to the same sex. And I remember feeling really good about that, but it also felt kind of weird to me, because it wasn't like I was being different. Like, I felt like at that moment in time that I was doing the right thing, that I was dating a female in high school. It was like that. And so that also like created a lot of inner turmoil for me. And then I went through this big come to Jesus phase, which is really big actually in this area. There's a lot of church stuff and a lot of youth groups, and I got caught into it too because, you know, you feel like they make you feel like they could fix that feeling that you haven't ever been able to fix. They kind of give you that false hope, and I got sucked into it. And I remember like feeling that high of, oh wow, I'm trying something different. This should help. You know, I've never done this before. Let's try it. You know, because I had always been like in and out of church, like with my parents, with my mom. But I never actually got into it like full-fledged until high school. And I, you know, it worked for a little while. But I still, you know, always kind of did the brunt work. I did I helped with the moving all the chairs, and I was big on like helping with, you know, doing the guy parts and some of the, you know, the sketches and stuff. I always wanted to be a part in that way. And then I actually fell head over heels for a girl in my group, and that was pretty horrifying for me because we were outed, and the pastor took us inside her room, and wanted to tell us that she wanted to just make sure that we knew what we were getting into. That's what she said. She said, you know, this is a sin, and if you guys continue, you know, you could go to hell. And it really struck me really hard because I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. Like, I felt like that's what it's supposed to be. Like, how could this be wrong? And that's when I kind of started actually going into more of a learning, you know, mentality. I started researching everything I could and started branching out and meeting new people, and, you know, it was then that I started finding out more about, you know, gender neutrality and like, you know, transgender and intersex and bisexuality, pansexuality. There's lots of words with sexuality, and, you know, it kind of helped a lot. But then you know, when I met my son's father, he was like a best friend to me, and I felt safe, and I was really scared to go and venture off into this other world. Even though it felt like I was supposed to be in that world, it didn't feel safe because nobody else was there to go with me. It was one of those things I would have had to go by myself, and I wasn't strong enough to do that. You know, I'm really good at putting up a front and like being strong for other people and taking care of other people, but my whole life I have never actually taken care of myself and put myself in, you know, the spotlight, or put myself first. It's never been something that I've done. So when I met him, it was almost like, you know, oh, this is comfortable. Oh, my mom is so excited. Oh, my family's so excited that I met, you know, someone that, you know, could be healthy for me, and a real relationship, you know. And it wasn't healthy either. Like, it was for a little while, but then it was one of those ones like we were fighting all the time. We were constantly butting heads, and I think it's because we were both, you know, guys. And it was, you know, demasculinizing each other, you know, on every end. And, you know, we broke up finally in high school, at the end of high school, senior year, and I moved out. And yet again, you know, I got put into a situation where I was alone, and I felt like I didn't have anybody. And, you know, I got sucked into grasping any kind of normality that I would have, you know, that I could. And that's when I found, you know, I ran right back into him. And, you know, I don't regret my son. I will never regret my son. My son actually is what saved me, because me becoming pregnant and having to deal with that and feel so not right. It felt like I wasn't supposed to be pregnant. It felt like this is not supposed to happen in my body. I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm supposed to be the one taking care of the pregnant person. Does that make sense? And going through the process of things getting bigger and things leaking and just, you know, it was scary and horrifying. And, you know, the end result is wonderful. I have the best little boy that anybody could ever, you know, hope for. But he definitely was the one that opened my eyes to who I really am. You know, and I've been fighting it for a long time, because it's like, you know, you talk to family and friends and it's like, okay, well, you're supposed to act a certain way, and it's hard. You know, you try, and I did. I would jump back to trying to be the most feminine of females you could ever find, and I would get really depressed and end up just, you know, like going through the phases where I just cut everything off, and, you know, I throw away all my girl clothes. And, you know, my friends probably really liked those phases, the girl friends of mine, because they always got really free, you know, they got free clothes, you know, every 6 months. So, but I think this last year has been the most realization for me, because, you know, I got sick of not being happy, and I got sick of having to try to be a girl, like makeup and everything like that. Like, to me, like, that's, you know, a feminine thing, and I didn't like people, you know, touching my chest. I don't like people talking about it. I don't like bringing attention to it. I never have, and I was always the protector type, and I've been that way in every relationship I've ever had. I haven't, I just never really had that I've just never been feminine to a point where I felt like it was genuinely from me. And since I've actually, you know, come to terms and accepted myself and really pushed myself to be who I am, it's scary, but it feels more right than anything I've ever done, you know. And I know that there's so many things that I have to come up against, you know, with being a trans guy and having a child and being in Boise, Idaho, being from a family that's never had to deal with this kind of thing. I mean, it's not easy, but you know what? Before I came to terms with this, when I looked at my future, I saw blackness. I didn't see a future. I saw nothing in 10 years. But now when I look at my life, being Stefan, being me, I see endless possibilities for my life, and I'm excited about it. And that fear, it really doesn't even matter to me anymore. So yeah, I'm excited about my life, and I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, I've got some great friends and family and that are still here and accept me and love me, and I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. And I think it's just gonna keep getting better and better. Anyway, there's my emotional crying moment for you guys. Hopefully no more of those to come, but when I start talking about that stuff, I do get kind of emotional. But I don't think I'm alone in that. It's not an easy thing to talk about. And anyway, so I really hope everybody's doing great, and because I know I am. And any more questions, emails, anything like that would be appreciated. So hope you guys have a great day.